Hello, this is a program to calculate gas mileage of your car. Um, so this is a Word doc that will give us an outline or sort of a pseudocode of how to program this. Um, so our program should get user input as for these three things as functions. So it'll be miles driven, amount of gas filled, price per gallon, and we need to be able to make sure that we can input strings or negative numbers. And then our programs should be able to calculate and print as functions, gas mileage, and money spent. And in our main function, we will be calling all of these accordingly. All right. And then down here, I have calculating gas mileage in real life, if in case you're interested. I've done this in real life. That's how I would do it. Some other people might do a different way. But the way I would do it is when I go to the gas station next time, I would write down the number of miles I have on the dashboard of my car on a piece of paper, or maybe save it on the phone. And I would put gas in at the gas station, and then I would wait about say 2 weeks or whenever, maybe a week or so, or whenever the next time I go to fill up my car again. So so when I do that, when I go to the gas station again, then I would write down the number of miles on the dashboard the second time. So that will be the second number, and then after I fill up my car, I will also write down the amount of gas I put in the car. And then to calculate the gas mileage, we take the number of miles, 2 minus 1, so it'll be the second number minus the first number, that divided by amount of gas filled or gas that we put in our car the second time. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to our program. I've already opened VS Code, so we're going to add a new file. Let's make it a Python file, and we can just now start coding. So let's say this program will calculate gas mileage and money spent on gas for your car, for your car. All right, so now we need to make the functions. So we'll have 5 functions, I believe. So the first one is miles driven, or actually get miles driven. And it won't have any parameters. So miles driven is equals, we'll take it as a float. Let's see, enter number driven. Okay. So the next line of code, we want to make sure that the user does not input any negative numbers. So to do that, we need to make a while loop. So while miles driven is less than or equal to 0, so while this is true, print. We want to print. So we want to say something. Say input must be positive. Please re-enter. Okay. So let's print a blank line of code, and then we're going to repeat this line again. So we're not in an infinite loop. And we want to return miles driven. All right. So that's the first function that will take miles driven as input, and we will call this function in main to get the input from the user, and then we will create a new variable, and we'll use that variable in the other 2 functions that calculates our gas mileage and money spent. So now I'm going to follow the same procedure and make 3 or 2 more functions for gas spent and price per gallon. They will have the same sort of setup as this function. All right, so now that I've made the two additional functions for gas spent and price per gallon, so now we're gonna make two functions to calculate our gas mileage and money spent. So we can make the first one money or gas mileage, and this function will take miles driven and gas spent as parameters. All right, so to do this, so gas mileage then equals miles driven over gas spent. All right, so we're going to print a blank line of code, and we're going to print something. We're going to print the results to the user, or print out calculation for gas mileage. So print gas mileage of your car is, and we'll do some formatting. So this is an older Python version, so I'll have to use the percent, and we're going to go out to there and percent gas mileage. All right. So that's the function for gas mileage, and we'll make another one for money spent. If and this function, or yeah, this function will take price per gallon and gas spent as parameters. So money spent equals price per gallon times gas spent. All right. And then again, we want to print the results. So you have spent. So do some formatting. Gas in your car. And then percent money spent. All right, so that's all the functions we need for our program. So now we can make our main function. So miles driven equals get miles driven. Gas spent so equals get gas spent. Price per gallon get price per gallon. All right, so now we're going to call the gas mileage function, and we're going to pass into it miles driven and gas spent. Okay, and then we're going to call money spent. This one has price per gallon and yes. All right. All right, so the program should be running okay now, but I'm going to also add exception handling so the user can't input, say, strings and negative numbers. Well, they cannot input negative numbers, but just make sure they don't input anything else other than numbers, float numbers, so whole numbers, or not whole numbers, real numbers. So to do that, we do try, and then let's indent all of these, and then we can do an except value error, and we're gonna have a blank line, and then we're gonna print to the user that they inputted the wrong thing. So please re-enter, or please enter a number. All right. And then do a else block too. Well, actually, one last thing I want to do is create a Boolean variable. So flag equals true, and while flag, again, I'm going to indent all of this. So now I'm gonna have an else block. Else flag equals false. Oops. False. All right. So otherwise, I think this when we get to this XF value error, it would just stop right there. The program wouldn't go back to having the user input for miles driven or gas spent or or so on. All right. So now all we need to do is call the main function. So let's go here and start the program and main. All right, let's run this program. All right, so I had made a mistake. I forgot to put in these parentheses. Took me a minute to catch that, but I'm calling the function and I forgot to put the parentheses in front. So anyway, when I run the program, I enter miles driven. I can enter, say, a realistic number. Say we drive 69 miles. Amount of gas, say 2.1, 2.1, and price per gallon 3.3. That's where it is, where I live, at least for the 87 grade. So it says it calculates the gas mileage and the amount of money we spend for gas in our car. So that's how we make a gas mileage program to calculate gas mileage and how much money we spent. All right, thanks for watching.